Hello, and thank you for tuning in. We are officially a couple weeks away from the NBA draft, and as of right now, all signs are pointing to Giannis Antetokounmpo landing with a new team before that point. So today we're going to explore 6 different teams who could potentially make the move for Giannis, and then sim the season to see which teams have the most success, and are any of them even capable of cashing in now and winning it all in the 2026-2027 season. The 6 teams we're going to talk about today are the current frontrunners in the Miami Heat, the Portland Trailblazers, the Boston Celtics, the Golden State Warriors, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Orlando Magic. So let's get right into it with these trade packages. The Miami Heat are going to be offering Tyler Hero, Kel'el Ware, and Nikola Jovic, along with 3 first-round picks, this year's included. The Portland Trailblazers are offering Jeremy Grant, Shaedon Sharpe, and 4 first-round picks, including all of the Bucks picks back in 2028, 29, 2030, and one of the extra Trailblazers picks in 2027. The Boston Celtics are offering Jaylen Brown and 2 first-round picks, including number 27 overall in this year's draft. The Golden State Warriors are offering an expiring contract in Jimmy Butler, 3 first-round picks, and Brandon Podziemski. The Orlando Magic are going to be trading Franz Wagner, Jonathan Isaac, and Anthony Black, no draft capital, for Giannis. The Minnesota Timberwolves are trading Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, and their 2026 first-round pick for Giannis and AJ Green. In an effort to try to keep these results as consistent as possible, I'm going to make some of the bigger moves around the league stay the same, including draft order, at least within like the first 14 or so picks, like the lottery. So I'm not going to let the sim take Cam Boozer number 1 overall in one of them and let DeBounce go number 1 overall in some of them. So we'll go ahead and get started with the Miami Heat scenario and the NBA draft there. We're going to go chalk basically for the first couple of picks here. In this Miami Heat scenario, we traded our first round pick to the Milwaukee Bucks. So we're going to see them on the clock here with their 10th overall pick. And Kingston Fleming's dropped to them at 10. And with the Miami Heat's 13th overall pick, they're going to take Morez Johnson, a high upside center, to replace Miles Turner long term. In this Boston scenario, they're picking at 27, and Hans Steinbach fell to them at 27. I don't know if he'll be available at 27 in real life. I highly doubt it, but we're not going to let him fall to 28. In the Trailblazers scenario, the Bucks do not get any extra first-round picks in this year's draft. In the Warriors scenario, they get the 11th overall pick in return, so they take Kingston Flemings with their 10th overall pick. And with the 11th overall pick, they're going to take Yaxel Lendeborg, the wing out of Michigan. I think he's just the best player available, and if he wasn't 23 years old, he'd be going a lot higher than he is. In the Orlando scenario, the Milwaukee Bucks only had their first-round pick as well. In the Timberwolves sim, they gave up the 28th overall pick in this year's draft, and Ibuka Okori ended up falling to us. I know they take guard Kingston Flemings, and this might have a little bit of overlap with that position, but he's just the best player available, so you take what you can get. Circling back around to keeping all of the bigger moves consistent within these scenarios, we're going to start with some of these bigger name free agents like Walker Kessler, going back to the Utah Jazz, 4 years, $100 million. The Los Angeles Lakers signing Austin Reeves back to a 5-year deal worth $200 million, and also signing LeBron James back for 1 last year. The Denver Nuggets signing back Peyton Watson on a 4-year deal starting at $20 million per year. The Detroit Pistons signing third-team All-NBA center Jalen Duren on a 5-year deal, $35 million AAV. The Minnesota Timberwolves signing Ayo Dosunmu back on a 4-year deal starting at $15 million per. The Cleveland Cavaliers signing back James Harden for 2 years, $90 million, with a player option on the 2nd year. I don't think Harden actually goes for this much, but in 2K he won't accept anything less, so get your bag. Alright, so now that all of those moves have been made consistently across all of these scenarios, we're with the Miami Heat, and I think our first order of business is going to be bringing back Norman Powell. We traded away Tyler Hero in our scenario, so we're going to bring back somebody to help us score, whether he's starting or off the bench. I think he'll start for us, but that's our first order of business is Norm Powell. We're going to offer him a 2+1 at $18 million AAV. So Norm did take that. Honestly, I don't hate the state of this Heat roster right now. Our total cap is coming in at around 187, which is about 13 million under the luxury tax. So we do still have access to our non-tax payer mid-level exception. So we'll see if we can add a player there. I'm looking at Colin Gillespie here for the Miami Heat. I know the Suns are going to be pretty eager to get him back, but is there a number here that they won't kind of want to mess with? If we offered $10 million a year, is that enough to get him away from the Suns? I don't think so. Anthony Simons is a very interesting name as well. I think he's someone who could command more than the mid-level exception, but he's someone to keep an eye on. Ultimately, the player we decided to offer our full mid-level exception to is Sandro Mamukelashvili from the Toronto Raptors. I think that they're a team who's going to be pretty desperate to get him back, so we had to go a little bit above the market to be able to pry him from the Raptors. They don't have his bird rights, so they have to create cap space to be able to bring him back. And I think as much as the Miami Heat may look at this and say this might be a bit of an overpay, Mamu could kind of fill the Bobby Portis role that Giannis played with in Milwaukee. He's an undersized 5, but he can space the floor. He plays well at the 4, so he could play next to Bam in the minutes that Giannis is not on the floor as well. The last thing I'm looking to get for the Miami Heat is someone who can back up the 1, and is someone who can just play make and handle the ball. The issue being, now we're not working with a lot. You know, we're looking around with the vet minimum. I tried to look at some potential trade options, but we just don't have many assets to work with here. We're going to try to bring in Javon Carter on a 1+1. This may become a theme in these videos, I'm not sure, but we're going to try to get Chris Middleton on a vet minimum. Thanasis, welcome aboard. I think that's going to do it for the Miami Heat. So we're on to the Boston Celtics here. I think their glaring need is going to be center, but we're going to look to see if we can get some secondary ball handlers in there as well. So we're going to get Jusuf Nurkic hopefully on the taxpayer mid-level exception on a 1+1. I'm almost wondering if there's a way we could get Anthony Simons back on a cheap deal. He's worth more than what we would be able to offer him. I'm a Trailblazers fan and I've seen his peaks. He can get streaky. I think he fit in well with Boston. We just don't have much to be able to offer him here. We couldn't get Ant Simon, so I'm going to offer Luke Kennard the vet minimum. I do think he's a perfect fit for Boston. He's one of the best shooters in the world, so we're going to hope he takes us up on this. That's going to be it for Boston. I thought about a move with Derek White to try to split him into multiple different pieces, his $34 million in cap space. But ultimately, I just think he has too much value. I know he had a down shooting year last year, but having him play around Giannis is just kind of unfair defensively. Next, we are on to my Portland Trailblazers. I honestly think this team is sneaky ready for a big move like this. You look at Dame, Scoot, Drew, Denny was an all-star this year. We were able to keep Tumani. You have Giannis and then Donovan Clingan. I do think we absolutely have to bring back Rob Will, so that's going to be our first order of business. All right, so we are going to get Rob back on a 2+1, 3 years, about $40 million. I just think he's earned it. You know, he defended Wemby well in the playoffs, and if we can get him healthy for the postseason, our center rotation is going to be pretty good around Giannis. With Damian Lillard coming back from a torn Achilles and Drew Holiday aging as well, we're going to try to add another guard here just for some extra depth and some extra shooting. Isaiah Joe from the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think he's a contract that they're going to try to get off of. So we're going to give them a couple second-round picks where they don't have to take any money back, and we're going to absorb Isaiah Joe into our non-taxpayer mid-level exception. We're going to bring Matisse Thybulle back on his vet minimum. Also, just for the bit, he may end up getting cut because I don't know how much space we have on this roster, but Thanasis, welcome to Portland. We're on to the Golden State Warriors, and I do think bringing back Kristaps Porzingis is a great option for us, just to add center depth. And I just think if Kristaps is healthy, I couldn't think of a better center to pair next to Giannis. We're going to give him about the same exact deal that Rob Will got from us in our Trailblazers scenario. Honestly have no idea what his market is going to be just based on his availability, but we're going to give him 3 years, about $40 million with the team option. We're going to bring DeAnthony Melton back on a 2-year deal. Jordan Goodwin is a guard that I do think that the Phoenix Suns are going to try to retain, but in this scenario, we're going to offer him 3 years with our non-taxpayer mid-level exception and try to get a good defensive-minded point guard to back up Steph Curry. On to the Orlando Magic. And as much as Giannis is a clanky fit next to Paolo, this is another team that kind of has a readiness to add a superstar to it. You have 2 great guards, Paolo obviously, and then a decent enough center rotation. We may try to add to it just in case, but this team I think is just as ready to add a superstar as any other team. Now, the tricky part is they don't have much at their disposal to do so. Luckily, in our trade, we didn't trade our available first round pick, but we have no cap room really. We're going to bring Mo Wagner back. We're also going to look to bring Javon Carter back as well. That's going to be all for Orlando. A little boring, but they really don't have much else to work with here. Lastly is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, honestly, I don't think that they would have done this. I really think that they're going to do anything in their power to keep Jaden McDaniels on this team. But the big thing for them is going to be looking to add a guard, I think, next to Anthony Edwards. They're going to want a true point guard if possible. Ayo Dosunmu is a great guard, but I don't think they're going to look to start him. I think they're going to try to keep him off the bench. So we're going to see what we can do to add a point guard. So the Timberwolves with limited assets, they're pretty tough to build. But what we're going to do is add Isaac Okoro to kind of replace some of the defense that Jaden McDaniels gave us. We're going to give a second round pick. Al Holton was our second round pick this year. So going to try to kind of convince ourselves that there's some upside for the Bulls there. I think in reality, Isaac Okoro is just kind of getting pushed out by the amount of wings that they're taking. So we're going to acquire Isaac Okoro. I don't know if Mike Conley is going to retire this year. I think he could be valuable for us in the regular season, although postseason, I don't know what he's still got left in the tank, but we're going to bring him back because we really need a point guard. We're also going to bring Bones back as well. For more guard depth, we're going to add Tyus Jones, Kenrich Williams, who was let go by the Thunder for cap reasons. So we are on to the regular season now. The Miami Heat, their starting lineup is going to be Davion Mitchell, Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, Giannis, and Bam Adebayo, with Sandro Mamukelashvili off the bench, Jaime Jaquez, Pele Larson, Kasparis Yakuchonis, and Javon Carter. We do have the ability to bring in a couple other guys into the rotation as needed throughout the season as well. The Boston Celtics starting five for the season is going to be Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, Jason Tatum, Giannis, and Yusuf Nurkic. Keita is going to play split minutes with Nurk, so it'll kind of be, we'll see whose night it is. Sam Hauser, Baylor Shireman, Hugo Gonzalez, and Jordan Walsh all off the bench. For the Portland Trailblazers, we have Dame, Toumani Camara starting at the 2, Denny Avdia, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Donovan Clingan. Drew Holiday, Scoot Henderson, Isaiah Joe, Rob Will, and Vit Krejci all off the bench. As for Vit being in the lineup, we're going to need shooting if Denny and Giannis is going to work together. Otherwise, it could get a little bit clunky out there. For the Golden State Warriors, I really wanted to start Kristaps at the 5, but I just can't imagine them not playing Draymond Green. So it's going to be Stephen Curry, DeAnthony Melton, Moses Moody, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Draymond Green. We have Porzingis, Goodwin, Richard, Horford, and Santos coming off of the bench. For the Orlando Magic rotation, we have Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane, Paolo Banchero, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Wendell Carter Jr. I love the starting 5, but it kind of falls off here. We got Tristan Da Silva, Jace Richardson, we're going to count on a big year too, Javon Carter, Goga Bitadze, and Moritz Wagner. We also have an 11th man in here for Jet Howard. We just are kind of relying on a bunch of unproven players, but if it hits, it's going to work pretty well. And lastly, for the Timberwolves, I know I talked big about them needing a true point guard, but Ayo is just the better player out of any other point guard on this roster, so he's going to start at the 1, Anthony Edwards at the 2, Terrence Shannon at the 3, Giannis Antetokounmpo at the 4, Rudy Gobert at the 5, and then we got 6 man of the year, Naz Reid, Isaac Okoro, AJ Green, Kenrich Williams, and Bones Highland rounding out the rotation there. So we are going to sim to the end of 2026 and we will see how each team is doing. So we are at the end of 2026 and the Timberwolves are humming. They are 28-5, first in the conference. Let's take a look at their stat lines. Anthony Edwards at almost 30 points a night, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Giannis at 28, 11 and 6. Both crazy efficiency. Giannis almost 35% from 3. Naz Reid looking like he could win 6 man of the year again. And the big thing we're looking at here is 3-point percentage all around is really good. This team's just been able to space the floor around Giannis, with Naz Reid at 37%, Ayo Dosunmu over 40, and then Isaac Okoro's at 36, which is right around league average there. AJ Green being a great shooter off the bench as well. This team is just kind of built well around Giannis, so it shows why they're having the success that they're having. The Orlando Magic sim, I'm not joking. We're like 2 games into the year and Giannis just broke his arm. So I think I'm going to not let that happen just to kind of keep it consistent with the other scenarios. The Orlando Magic at the end of 2026 are doing pretty well. They are second in the Eastern Conference at 21-12. Giannis is leading the team at 28, 10, and 6. I do also want to mention Giannis did miss like 2 games with a knee thing. That one I didn't switch, but the broken arm I did not allow to happen. So Paolo's at 25, 7, and 5. Desmond Bane, 19 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and Jalen Suggs is at 12 points. Giannis is shooting really well in these scenarios so far. He's almost at 38% from 3. Paolo's at 41%, Bane 38, and Jalen Suggs is at 40%. If the Orlando Magic could shoot, they wouldn't have had to do this move, and they would be in a much better spot right now. The Golden State Warriors are third in the conference. Giannis is at 27, 12, and 5. Steph is at 26, 3, and 5. Kristaps has been playing well, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, all off the bench. The issue here for the Warriors is Draymond Green. They have 28 million in cap dedicated to him. We're playing 21 minutes a night, and he's got like the Wendy's 4 for 4 for a stat line with 4 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. That's just not going to cut it. I know he does other things, and this is a simulation video game, and it's not real life. But you just need more out of him. At the bare minimum, hit some threes. 29% from 3 next to Giannis is just not going to cut it. Luckily, Giannis is shooting well in every one of these scenarios for some reason. And then you also have the greatest shooter of all time next to them. For the Trailblazers at the end of 2026, they are first in the conference, 29-4. Brings a tear to my eye. It truly does. Giannis is averaging 29, 10, and 6, 62% from the floor, 38% from 3. Something's up. Dame is back at 19, Tumani's at 17, and Denny's at 16. We're going to look to change some tendencies because that's just not right. But another thing here is everyone's efficiency is really good. Tumani shooting 40% from 3, shooting 7 attempts a night. That's what he was doing last year, shooting 7 threes. He just raised that percentage, which is really awesome to see. Denny back shooting well from 3. And then Drew shooting 41% from 3. We're definitely going to adjust some tendencies because DC just hasn't shot any threes either. And I think kind of the whole point of having him next to Giannis is that hopefully he will be shooting better next year as well. For a second there, I thought every team was just going to roll through the season. For some reason, the Boston Celtics are not, so let's take a look. So Giannis and JT are holding it down, almost 60% from the floor. See, so look, they're just getting the real life Giannis. Unfortunately, every other team is getting a lights out from 3 Giannis, but JT's shooting it well. Peyton Pritchard is going crazy. Derek White, my goodness. Sam Hauser's at 46%, and Nurk is shooting a career best 38% as well. Taylor Shireman is playing 20 minutes a night and hasn't taken a single 3 all season. Again, we're going to check some tendencies and try to fix it for the second half. Lastly, the Miami Heat. They added Giannis just to be a play-in team. Unfortunately, they are at 17-15, a little less than the midway point in the season. Yeah, it just looks like they just don't have anything else around Giannis. I think a lot of these other teams that we looked at, they have a pretty real number 2 option. Bam Adebayo has not been that, unfortunately, and Norm Powell just hasn't been good enough playing 30 minutes a night. Sandro Mamukelashvili was a player that I was excited to add to this team. He's shooting 36% from 3 on 4 attempts a night, and he's playing 23 minutes a night off the bench. He's backing Bam up. He's playing when Giannis is off the court. I honestly thought this team was going to do pretty well, but we'll look closer to the trade deadline to see what we can do to add to it. So at the trade deadline, the Miami Heat are doing a little bit better than they were at the end of 2026. Honestly, with the assets the Miami Heat have, I don't know that there's a trade or acquisition that they can do that might help. I think what we may just look to do here is start to play Chris Middleton a little bit. See if that kind of helps the offense get going a little bit more than it is right now, and see if that can help make it a little bit better than middle of the pack. Jaime Jaquez is having a pretty rough season right now, so we're going to move in Chris Middleton to play a little bit of his minutes, and we'll see what happens. At the trade deadline, the Minnesota Timberwolves are still first, 44-6. I'm not going to make any moves. I don't want to do anything to disrupt what this team has going. Right now, the Timberwolves are the best defense in the league and the second best offense. That just sounds like a championship team, but we will keep it rolling and see what happens. So the Orlando Magic at the trade deadline are 32-19, second in the Eastern Conference. The Magic have the second best offense in the league and a top 7 defense. You're usually looking for top 10 and top 10, and they check that mark. And then the big thing is that the Magic are shooting 38% from 3 as a team, which if they did that with this build, yeah, they should be a contender in the East. The Warriors at the trade deadline are third in the Western Conference at 36-16. Let's take a look to see if Draymond has done any better here. All right, none of his stats are over 4 still. Not even at 40% from the field. I think if we seriously want to win a championship, he might have to go. I just want to keep these in the realm of realism, and I just don't know if they would trade him. I don't know if they would move on from Draymond. So the issue I'm running into is that as hard as it is to look at those stats, it's even harder to find a trade destination for Draymond. He's an expiring deal, but even the Bulls, unless I'm looking to try to get Patrick Williams, uh, so how much do we trust a center rotation of Kristaps and Al Horford? Patrick Williams is at least shooting well from the 3. He's shooting a lot better from the field than Draymond. So as much as I don't want to send this video off the rails, I also want to make sure that I'm giving the Warriors a fair shot at this. When I structured the Warriors trade, I wanted to make sure that I left them an extra first so that they could make a move if they were close to this contendership level. So we are going to acquire Patrick Williams and center Jalen Smith from the Chicago Bulls in exchange for Draymond Green and a first-round pick. The Portland Trailblazers here at the trade deadline are still first in the conference, 44-7, and we are dealing with the Jrue Holiday injury. I did let that one sit because it is realistic for a 36 or 37-year-old guard to miss some time. But this is another scenario where I'm not going to try to change anything. First in the conference and performing really well, so we're going to let it ride. The Boston Celtics at the trade deadline are third in the Eastern Conference and 33-19. They are another team that's just not going to make any moves. It's a lack of assets, but also the team is just looking all right in all areas here. In the Miami Heat scenario, we have Wemby winning MVP, Cam Boozer winning Rookie of the Year, Scoot winning Sixth Man, Wemby winning Depoy, and Risa Shea winning Most Improved. We got Giannis on a second team and Bam on All NBA third team. Bam did also make second team defense. And overall, we did avoid the play-in game as the 6th seed. We are 48-34 to end the year. Giannis does get first team All-NBA for the Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum is third team All-NBA. Giannis makes a defensive team. And overall, we finish as the 2 seed as the Boston Celtics, 53-29 on the year. I did not see this as a possibility, but the Portland Trailblazers are 1 game left and 1 win away from tying the regular season record for most wins in a season. So let's see how it goes. It's a close game. Looks like they might be pulling away. All right, that's all right. I'm a homer, so I wanted to see it. Still first in the conference, 72-10 on the year. Giannis on first team All-NBA. Giannis first team All-Defense. And Donovan Clingan did make second team All-Defense. For the Warriors simulation, Giannis got first team. Steph did not make it. Giannis was first team All-Defense. 59-23 record. The Orlando Magic are looking like they're going to close their season as the second seed. They will. This is the first simulation that Wemby did not win MVP. We did have Giannis on All-NBA first team. Paolo on All-NBA third team. Giannis got second team All-Defense. All right, and the Timberwolves are going to finish first in the conference as well. We'll see if they're going to get to 70 wins or stay at 69. And they will get to 70. Giannis wins MVP for the Timberwolves. That's the first time we've seen that in our simulation scenarios here. Cam Boozer, Scoot Henderson is sixth man. So we obviously had Giannis on the first team All-NBA. And Anthony Edwards on third here. Giannis second team All-Defense. For the playoffs, we'll start here in Minnesota. We got Minnesota versus the Clippers in round one. The Clippers take game one. We take game two. We take game three, game four, and game five. Okay, so after that first game, I was a little bit worried, but that makes sense. In round two, we're taking on the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors have Steph, Anthony Simons, Jimmy Butler back, Draymond Green, and Kristaps Porzingis. We take game one, lose game two. We take game three. All right, it's tied up 2-2. We win game five. And then we send them home in six. So we are in the conference finals for the Minnesota Timberwolves against OKC. We take game one. Oklahoma City takes game two. Oklahoma City takes game three. I may look to adjust the minutes now that we're getting down the stretch. All right. So we take game four. We even the series up. We lose game five. All right. So this is win or go home here for Minnesota. And we're going to force a game seven against Oklahoma City. The Minnesota Timberwolves will lose in game seven of the conference finals with Giannis Antetokounmpo. And in that scenario, the Detroit Pistons end up winning the championship. So for the Orlando Magic, they'll be taking on the Miami Heat in their first round series. Win game one. Win game two. Game three. And we will sweep Miami in round one. And now we're going to face the New York Knicks. We win game two. Jace Richardson had a flu game. We win game two. Lose game three. Win game four. And we beat the Knicks with a gentleman sweep. Now we're going to face the Atlanta Hawks in the conference finals. Win game one, two, three. And Paolo missed the game four of the conference finals, and we still won. Okay, so this is a little bit of a funky sim here. We got Magic Warriors in the finals. The Warriors got Pods, Steph, Jimmy, Precious Achiuwa at the 4, and then Porzingis at the 5. So if I had to guess, this Magic team should win the finals here. We lose game one. I just swapped to put Jalen Suggs onto Steph Curry. We'll see if that makes a difference here. It does. We win game three. We tie it up. It's 2-2. 3-2 us. And the Orlando Magic with Giannis Antetokounmpo are the first team to win the NBA Finals. Giannis as a Finals MVP. We are under the Golden State Warriors sim here. and we are going to be playing the Dallas Mavericks in round 1 of the playoffs. They got Kyrie, Clay, Cooper Flag, PJ Washington, and Derek Lively. Dallas takes game 1. We tie it up. Dallas takes game 2. We're not going to let Steph miss the playoffs here. We tie it up again. Dallas takes game 3. We're going to look at this rotation real quick. All right, so we made sure to get Jordan Goodwin, the backup point guard, minutes here. Giannis playing 40 a night. Added a couple more to Kristaps. Let's see if we can force game 7. We do. Game 7. We win. Okay, so we are going to move on to face Minnesota in round 2 of the playoffs here. We win game 1. Win game 2. Minnesota takes game 3. All right, it's all tied up at going into game 5 here. We take game 5. All right, we're going back-to-back game 7s. Let's hope this old team can hang. And we win. So we're going to go to the conference finals against Portland. I love how Portland is just thriving in these scenarios. Dame, Shea, Denny, 2, and DC, Steph, D'Anthony Melton, Moses Moody, Giannis, and Kristaps Porzingis. All right, we take game 1. We take game 2. Take game 3. All right, good for Portland not getting swept. But we will end up winning in 5 to go to the finals with the Golden State Warriors. All right, we got Pistons Warriors in the finals here. Warriors take game 1. Warriors take game 2. Pistons take game 3. Warriors take game 4. And in an elimination game here, the Pistons force game 6. And there we have it. We have another championship winner. The Golden State Warriors with Giannis will win the NBA Finals. Stephen Curry, Finals MVP with 28, 6, and 6. So we are on to the historically great Portland Trailblazers. I love to hear that come out of my mouth, where we will be playing the Clippers. We take game 1. We take game 2. We take game 3. So we're going to sweep the Clippers in round 1 of the playoffs. We are going to move on to face the Minnesota Timberwolves here, where we take game 1, game 2, game 3. And we beat Minnesota in 5. So this team, it's all carrying over to the postseason. 8-1 so far in the playoffs. And we are going to go ahead and face the Oklahoma City Thunder in the conference finals. All right, we are down 2-0. All right, so no Isaiah Joe, no Vit Krejci in the lineup. So we're running an 8-man rotation, and we are hoping to not get sent home here. And we stay alive. We're going to force game 6. We force a game 7, so we're going to see if we can come back down from 3-1 here. So we force a game 7 just to lose. Shea wins Western Conference Finals MVP. And we are going to have Knicks Thunder, and the Knicks will win in the Trailblazers scenario. Very bittersweet for me. Very bittersweet. We are on to the 2-seed Boston Celtics going up against the Indiana Pacers in round 1. They'll take game 1, take game 2, take game 3, and we will win in 5 against the Pacers to move on to face the Detroit Pistons. We take game 1, game 2, we lose game 3. It's all tied up here 2-2, where we win, and to send Detroit home, we send them home in 6. All right, so it's going to be New York Knicks versus Boston Celtics, Oklahoma City, and Minnesota Timberwolves. The Knicks win game 1. Just shrunk our rotation a little bit down to 9. And it works. We win game 2. Jason Tatum sprains his ankle. No thank you. All right, it's all even 2-2. We are up 3-2 and to send the Knicks home. They end up forcing a game 7 here. And the Boston Celtics lose in 7 to the Knicks. So the Celtics do not end up winning a championship with Giannis here. Get about as close as you can get to the finals. And the Minnesota Timberwolves end up winning it all in the Celtics scenario. Finally, we are on to the 6th seed Miami Heat, where we'll face the Detroit Pistons in round 1. We lose that one. Even it up to 1-1 there. All right, we've got a 3-1 lead over the Detroit Pistons here. They're going to force game 6, and we beat them in 6. We move on to face the Orlando Magic, who take game 1 against us. We tie it up. We take game 3. Take game 4. All right, game 6. We lose, so we are going to go to game 7 against the Orlando Magic. And we get sent home. In this sim, it is going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves who win it all. Just to summarize, we did see the Miami Heat lose in Game 7 of the semifinals. We saw the Portland Trailblazers, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Boston Celtics all lose in Game 7 of the conference semifinals. And then the two teams that Giannis was able to put over the top and win the NBA championship with was the Golden State Warriors and the Orlando Magic. Now, this video is going to look a little funky in a couple of weeks when the Miami Heat are the team that end up trading for Giannis anyways, but oh well. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care. God bless.